Hey guys, it's Jess from All Done Dancing. It's been a while since I filmed again, and this is actually going to be in response to the article I posted last week or so. It was like the last thing I really posted. It was an article about what not to say to amputees, and I'm just going to take it in a different direction, kind of things that have been said to me, and maybe other ways they could be handled, either from the person asking or stating something to my response. Also, this cat is in the way. Okay, so I kind of quickly glanced at the article again this evening, and so I'm not going to do 10 things that people have said to me because, like, in the moment, as I was just jotting things down, I couldn't think of 10 things. They all kind of blurred together. I mean, ones that have obviously done, like, psychological trauma and caused me to have a weird, I don't know, response to everything in my life. Obviously those will stand out. I'm just trying to figure out a good angle here. So first of all, the most frequent one that I feel like I get all the time is if I am walking somewhere and I may be walking slower because my legs are hurting for some reason, just people just blurting out, "What's wrong with your leg?" Like, okay, first of all, hello, I like you, but we need to go away. Yeah. So first of all, really, unless I'm like, oh, I'm in a lot of pain and you should probably pay attention to this, why would you just shout that to somebody who's at the grocery store trying to pick up their, dinner or whatever, or just walking into an office and someone says it to you? I don't know, it throws me off. And really, if I see somebody who is limping or walking a bit slower, I mean, obviously I have personal experience with these questions, so I wouldn't necessarily want people asking me every single day, "What's wrong with your leg?" Because really, even when my legs are good, I will probably walk slightly different than most people. So really, a lot of times, nothing is wrong with my leg, it's just how I walk. So that's frustrating to me that people ask me that all the time. It's also frustrating that my cat is not getting the hint to leave. Okay, yep, I see you. I'm actually not talking to you right now. Oh my goodness, cat. Lay down. Thank you. Okay, I think another one that's really bothered me the most is people who make an example out of me. Like, this is why ... And the one that I always think of, I was maybe in elementary school or middle school, and this mother had a few children with her and pointed directly to me and said, "Kids, this is why you don't play with matches." Now, one, that fire has nothing to do with the scars that I have on my arms or the fact that I am missing both of my lower limbs. That has nothing to do with it. Two, why would you point somebody out and make your kids, one, feel really uncomfortable about that, and make a small child, like I was under 14 years old, so I was young. Why would you make that person, it was within earshot, it was probably from here to maybe the wall behind me, so, 5 or 6 feet. It was at the mall, I think, or a store. It was a store of some kind, and I was waiting for my mom. And I have since had, reconstructive surgery. I had more scarification. Actually, I have a little picture. Kind of, let's see this. Okay, so this is when I was about 7. This is me. That's my brother. So the scar that is here was far more pronounced. The scarring on my elbow was a lot more obvious, I guess. I mean, so I visibly look like I had something wrong with me, and I get it. I get why people would be like, hey, I can see how I could be an example, but also that's horrible. That's terrible parenting. And I'm not one to say you're a good or a bad parent, but I think that would be the worst and most traumatic way to tell someone not to play with matches, especially since what happened to me was an airborne illness that caused my blood to start coagulating and dying, and thus my limbs started to die. Again, nothing to do with fire. So wherever you are, if you happen to be watching this and you're like, hey, I might have said that to some girl in the Midwest in the 90s, just remember, people have feelings. Now that my cat is laying down, let's see what my next one was. People who claim things like, I didn't know meningitis could do that. I mean, if you're just a common everyday person going to an office job or you work at a restaurant, are you really doing a lot of research on meningitis and what could happen? I mean, there's so many different strains and even illnesses affect people differently. There's no way you could ever assume that what happened to me was because of meningitis. Like, why would that be your answer when I'm like, oh, I had meningitis? No. Trying not to get angry about these because some of them are just like, seriously, why would you say that? Or people who said, oh, I didn't realize you were an amputee as I'm getting out in the handicapped parking spot to go shopping at the mall. Yeah, we've never met, so how would you even know? Because I wear makeup? I don't know, because I don't look and fit to your stereotype of what a disabled person needs to be. I think most of the times people think like I've stolen somebody's in my family who's maybe older than me, like stolen their handicap tag. But I haven't. It's for me, because if I can avoid walking an extra whatever across the parking lot, I'm going to, so I can enjoy myself when I'm shopping. Again, gotta rein in my anger here. Again, another thing, like you walk a little slow. Are you okay? Which I guess is the same thing as what's wrong with your leg. Also just blatant stares. I remember in like 2007, so I was in college, and we went to Disneyland with my mom and my grandma and my sister, who was like 2 at the time, and I finally had the courage to wear shorts again. I mean, the last time I wore shorts was like 5th grade before that point. And so people just staring and not saying anything. Like, I get it. Like, you are observing, you are assessing the situation, but just ask me. Like, oh, interesting. I see you're wearing medical hosiery and you're wearing shorts. What's that all about? But don't be a jerk about it, because I'm going to respond negatively if you're going to give me jerky inquiries. And speaking of that, so outside of people asking me these ridiculous things all the time, like this is a constant thing that I'm always dealing with, which is fine. I've come to enjoy it. Most of the time I just give a quick, one sentence like I had meningitis, now I'm an amputee, and that's it. Like, I don't need to go into my life story. I don't need to get my emotions involved. I can just say it and I can move on. And that took me 29 years, let's be real, to really get to that point. So I know other people who are amputees, well, just from reading, I don't really know anybody else who's an amputee personally. I know they can kind of come to terms with it because, one, they were probably adults when they, had an accident, injury, illness, like they knew how to process it, whereas I was only 18 months old or 20 months old when this happened to me. So I had a child's brain trying to process this crazy life-altering event, and I never really did it because my family never really talked about it unless we were in a doctor's office. And the doctor's office is where I thrive. I can tell you anything you want to know. If you're the doctor or the nurse or the physician's assistant or med students, like I can tell you anything, and very specific and medically detailed. And the same when I go to medical or prosthesis appointments, I can say, this is what's wrong, please help me fix it. I tried on my own, but I couldn't. Like, those are the 2 places that I've excelled for quite a while, probably the last 10, 15 years. I mean, since I was 18, so that was good. I'm glad, at least in some sense, I had, I was an advocate for myself, whereas I depended on other people, like my parents or my family to, answer these questions for me, or I would just feel really awful about myself, which I don't recommend that. I recommend like tackling it and, embracing it. Like, this is who I am. Like, I have these scars and whatever, I have scars. That's just who I am. So yeah, if you are curious about something in life, and not just for people who are amputees, but in general, if you're genuinely interested in what's going on with somebody's body, ask them a question. But don't be a jerk, like I said before. Just genuinely ask them the question and move on. Like, you don't need to dwell on it. You don't need them to feel bad about it. Just be like, I'm interested in whatever. Like, Oh, every time I film a video, it goes to a screensaver and then everything gets messed up. And, you know, if people are genuinely asking me questions, not being, again, like I said this before, also my cat, seriously, I will give them a positive response. If they, I mean, for instance, when I flew to San Francisco the last time, so like 2014 or so, 2015? No, 14. I was waiting to get on my flight and I was wearing like a t-shirt. So, I mean, my scars were shown. I was wearing pants, and this woman with her 2 kids, which I've probably talked about this in another video, you know, she was dropping her girls off to go on a flight to either go to their grandparents' house or their father's house. It was something. You know, they were flying by themselves after they got on the plane. Their mom was going back home. And the mom sat down next to me and was like, "Are these seats taken? Blah, blah, blah." And she was kind of giving these girls a pep talk, like, you know, if you have any questions, this girl looks like she knows how to, you know, get through life, something along those lines, you know. And then we kind of just had a naturally occurring conversation. It wasn't like I was walking to a chair and someone had to stop me in what I was doing and ask me why I'm an amputee, why I'm missing my limbs, why I have, you know, scars. So I like the organic, natural conversations that come about and everyone feels good about it. Like, they learned something about me, I learned something about them. It was awesome. Whereas if people are like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm going to literally tell them I survived a shark attack or I used to wrangle tigers. Like, I'm going to give them some off-the-wall stuff because I don't care to give them the time of day, which is rude on my part, but it's also rude on their part. Because why? Why do you have to be rude? So I guess, I don't know if this video would be helpful to anybody or something along these lines, like if I get asked specific questions, if I should make other like response videos to that. I'm trying to be more regular on video creation, but it's my last semester of grad school and I have to take the certification exam in July and I'm just kind of strapped for time. So hopefully I can film a bit more. I will be going on vacation in about a month, so I think I might maybe try to vlog and piece it together or not. I don't know. We'll see. But thank you for watching, and please post any questions or comments down below. Again, this was interesting and exciting, like part of my life, so yeah. Or if there's any questions you think I get that I didn't answer, or how I approach those questions, please leave them below and I'll make like a part 2. But yeah, thank you for watching, and hopefully I will be back soon with another video. Bye!